Hi everyone, my name is Mrs. Marciano and I'm your art teacher for the spring semester 2021. I'm so excited to start this semester as I'm hoping all of you are. We're about to go over some course expectations just to give you an idea of what to expect when you're in the classroom as a hybrid student or if you are an opt-out student working from home. So stay tuned. All right, welcome spring 2021. This has been a weird school year for all of us so far, but I'm glad to see you in person and virtually when we are in class. I truly believe taking an art class during a pandemic is an excellent choice because it will give you a break and maybe even an escape from what's going on outside of the studio. I'm happy to have you here, and I do not take for granted the time we have together. Please make sure to pay close attention as everyone will need to fill out a Google form stating that you and your parent guardian do understand this information when we are done with the slideshow. So overall expectations and purpose of an art class. It is expected that you will put forth a positive, constructive, productive attitude towards the teacher, classmates, supplies, and studio space. You will put forth your best effort on your own work on a consistent basis. Taking an art class will help you relax and unwind, interact with your creative peers, express yourself, learn new skills, and learn about current art topics in the art world. So for a hybrid model, the half-credit course that I'm teaching this spring is Ceramics 1. The in-person days, you're going to be working on your ceramics project in the studio, and it will span over several weeks, especially because for most of you, I only see you once a week. Our at-home days each week, you'll be logging into a Google Meet at the beginning of class. You must attend at the beginning of class to be counted present in Power School attendance. I go over maybe a few, short little questions or discussion topics at the beginning, and then I give instruction for my virtual kids on what is to be done during class that day. If you show up late, that's fine, but you need to make sure you attend in the first 15 minutes. Otherwise, you are marked absent for the whole class. Just like normal pre-COVID, more than 15 minutes absent in the class, you are marked absent. A learning and reflection assignment on your own pace will be assigned, and you'll upload your work to Classroom by the end of the block. Please make sure you do the work during the class time, otherwise you can fall behind. And I have had students who have experienced that in the fall semester, is that work starts to pile up because they don't actually do the work during class. Please note that all classes, both Ms. Flanagan and Ms. Marciano's, have the same hybrid assignment each week. So if you are in a full credit or you're a double dipper, there will be additional components because technically we're not going to make you do the same assignment twice in 1 week. You'll do a little doodle instead. So for example, let's say for our half credit classes, Molly is in Drawing 1, which is a half credit class, and she's in the Blue A cohort. On Monday or Tuesday, depending on which day her class meets, she will come to the art room and work on her assigned art project. This project spans for several weeks. On Thursday or Friday, depending on which day her class meets, she will log into the Google Meet at the start of her class time so her teacher can mark her present. Then she will work on and submit the posted virtual assignment during the block. For the hybrid model, full credit courses, this is my Art 1, Art 2, and Advanced Studio classes. In-person days, you're working on an art project in the art studio that will span over several weeks. At-home days each week, Google Meet at the beginning of the block. You'll be assigned a learning and reflection assignment. And then, again, we'll talk more about our double dippers, kids that are taking more than one art class this semester. Please keep in mind that for our full credit classes, since we meet every day, 4 days a week, you will be assigned a day 1 virtual lesson and a day 2 virtual lesson on the days that you are home. So please keep that in mind, and it'll be assigned to you on the day that you're home and expected to complete the work. So it shouldn't be super confusing once we get in the swing of things. So for example, let's say Josh is in Art 1, it's a full credit class, and he is in White B cohort. On Monday and Tuesday, he is learning virtually, so he's going to join the Google Meet at the time the class starts to be counted for attendance purposes. He will then work on the virtual assignment each day and submit the required components by the end of the block. On Thursday and Friday, he will work on his assigned art project in the room. This project will span a couple weeks. The opt-out model for full and half credit classes. Opt-out students will be lent a bag of art supplies to keep at home. If you do need art supplies, then please let us know ahead of time. Otherwise, we're expecting that you have things at home and you do not need to borrow supplies from the studio. Due to the nature of the materials that we will be using in person in class, we unfortunately cannot always do the same projects that in-person students will do. Therefore, opt-out students will have an opt-out at-home project to work on while the in-person students are working on their art projects. They will do the same virtual assignments as the rest of the class, including the double dipper assignments, if applicable. Opt-out students will join the Google Meet at the beginning of each class for attendance purposes. Opt-out students will follow their assigned cohort, blue team or white team, when planning for what work to do for the week. If their assigned cohort has them quote-unquote in class on Monday and or Tuesday, then they would do the at-home project at that time. They will do the virtual lesson on Thursday and or Friday because they would be home anyways if they were in the hybrid model. So basically what's ending up, what we've been doing with the opt-out students is you're going to be getting an assignment that is entitled at-home project. So when you click on the Google Doc, you'll scroll down to the at-home project assignment and complete that work and submit it. And that's on the days that you would have been in class if you're a hybrid kid. The virtual assignment is assigned to you. It literally says virtual assignment or virtual lesson, and that's when you would click on the doc and go through the directions for that virtual assignment and submit it that day, and that would be the day that you would have been home anyways, even if you were a hybrid. So pretty much just following directions is going to be key. And we'll kind of go through and make sure everyone's on the same page, and there's going to be some kinks, and that's expected, but usually after week 3, we're good to go. So this is an example. I'm not going to actually read through it because I pretty much just said what this example is giving. So I keep saying double dipper. A double dipper is a student who's taking more than one art class this semester. And I'll be keeping track of my kids that I actually see maybe in Art 1 and in ceramics, let's say. That's pretty much the only, or Art 2 and ceramics, that's the only combinations that I have. So if you have me in an Art 1 or Art 2 as well as a ceramics class, what will end up happening is I'm going to be asking you to do an additional assignment, which is just a doodle sketch, like it's a sketch assignment. And you'll be submitting that with your virtual lesson. That way I can say that you actually did do some work during our class time, even though you maybe have already done the virtual lesson for the first class that you had during the week. You need to make sure that you submit your virtual lessons to both Google Classrooms. So let's say you have Art 1 at the beginning of the week, or the first part. You're going to go ahead and do the virtual lesson for Art 1, and then when ceramics comes around and you're assigned the same virtual lesson, you're just going to submit the same work. So Wednesdays, I'm available for extra help through a Google Meet by appointment. I will make sure to have that Sign Up Genius in the Google Classroom assignments under a topic so that the sign up is always there for you. I do ask that kids sign up by Tuesday night. That way I can kind of plan for my Wednesday. I'm also happy to answer any questions via email all day Wednesday. You are encouraged to use this time to catch up on any virtual assignments. Artwork and supplies will not go home to be worked on unless teacher permission is given, and that's on any day, not just Wednesdays. So when you're in class, my hybrid kids, when you're in class, you're expected to be working the entire 83 or 84 minutes because that's the only time you're actually able to work on your project. Office hours. Please keep in mind that every weekday, I am working from 7:25 to 2:25. On days students are in the building, my time is to answer emails or Google Meet with students at home is limited since I am working with students that are in my class. I will answer emails within one day, usually sooner, but please be patient. If you send me an email after 2:15, I will not respond until the next school day. Google Meet etiquette. Please show up on time when your class starts and mute yourself before joining the class unless you wish to speak. Participating during the meet is very important. So when Mrs. Marciano asks you a question, please don't leave her hanging. It's super awkward. I have a tendency to like when students respond if I ask them a question instead of just dead silence. So if I am greeting you, if I say, "Hi, Josh, welcome to, good morning," it's nice to either get a little like hi or something in the comment box to acknowledge that I personally said hello to you. It's also really awkward when I have students that don't respond if I ask them a question or, just in general, like it's already kind of weird for us teachers to be talking to a screen and a bunch of icons, since I found that most students don't put their video on, which is fine, but please keep in mind that I am a human being and I need validation and I need some type of, someone to speak to and someone to speak back when called on. So yes, you are encouraged to use the video function. It's great to see kids when they're at home, but it's not required. And please conduct yourself in an appropriate manner in the meet and in the chat. Grading in-person projects. So projects are going to be worth 100 points, and they're weighted 70% of your overall grade. Since we will only be seeing you in person 1 or 2 days a week, and since extra studio time is not an option, we will be looking for more of an overall effort towards the assignment. You will be given clear objectives to follow, but you aren't being solely graded on those. You will also be given a self-reflection form where you're going to self-grade and then self-reflect on the assignment. Students will be submitting their projects by taking a photo and uploading it to Google Classroom. Teachers will be grading and giving feedback on these uploaded projects. So instead of submitting work into a folder in the classroom, you're actually going to take pictures and almost creating like a digital folder. That way, heaven forbid, we go full virtual, then I have those digital files to look back on so that I can give grades. Grading virtual assignments. So virtual assignments are worth 30% of your overall grade, and they're going to be teaching you about various artists, art movements, art skills, and pretty much the art world, and then you'll be asked to respond and reflect on that information. And it varies each week, so it's not really like a building block virtual assignment. Every week is a different topic, which I have found pretty fun to create, but then also to teach. And I have had a lot of positive feedback from students about what they're learning virtually. So I'm excited to kind of share all of this with you as well. You will upload your assignments to Google Classroom, and the work will be graded as follows. 5 points is given when the assignment is answered all components thoroughly and thoughtfully and was creative in format of response. 4 points, answered all components thoroughly and thoughtfully. 3 points, answered all parts but depth was lacking. 2 points, not all parts were answered, cursory responses. And 1 point, little to no attempt at a reflection. I also do a pretty good job of entering zeros into missing work to give you more of a realistic idea as to what your grade would be like if you didn't complete that assignment. So think of it as, you're signing into your Google Meet, you're doing the work during class time and submitting it by the end of class. If you need extra time, please let me know. I'm very flexible on that. And if you don't end up doing it during class time, you still can submit the work late. It's given a half point or a full point off, depending on what the assignment is. But a 4.5 is better than a 0. And I do put in zeros to kind of give you an idea as to what your grade would be like if you chose to not complete the assignment. In-person sanitation protocols. So of course, masks are going to be worn at all times. You will carefully and quickly remove your mask to drink water. Food is never allowed in the studio. And that was something that happened before COVID. 6 feet social distancing will be practiced. Seats will be assigned to ensure social distancing and limit cross-contamination. Upon arrival to the room, including after lunch, if you're in a third block class, you will sanitize your workspace, and if we have clear divider shields, then you'll also sanitize that. Your individual supplies and work will be stored in a plastic bag. Once the class begins, your teacher will let you know when you can come up and grab your bag out of the class bin. If you need a replacement supply, please ask your teacher. The supplies you are given are the ones you are to use, so take care of them. Intentional breaking or ruining of supplies does not mean you get new ones. Please take care of your art supplies. Anytime supplies will be shared, teacher provided, gloves can be worn, and then also the supplies are sanitized after they are used. So pretty much you're going to be sitting in your seat during the entire class time. There's really no getting up and moving around. There's no going into cabinets to get more supplies. Everything is provided for you at the table. And if you have any questions or need help with supplies, then I ask that you raise your hand and call me over and I will assist you. You will under no circumstances use supplies that are not provided to you in your individual bag or provided by the teacher. So like I just said, no going into closets, no touching teacher supplies, no sharing supplies. When the class is over, you will sanitize your supplies that go back into the bag and then wipe the bag down on the outside before returning it to the bin. You will follow directions regarding any communal supplies or tools that will be washed in water. You will clean the table of smudges and debris and other messes with a wet paper towel, and then you'll sanitize your work area and screen. Under each table, there are different sanitation bottles that we'll talk more about when the time comes, but that's when you guys would go ahead and use that to make sure that everything is nice and clean before you leave class. No students are allowed in the center workroom. It's needed for storage at this time. We may be using the cell phone and headphone pockets located in the room. Headphones are really not to be used during class. It's a small class, there's less distractions, and it's nice to kind of be able to talk to you and have you make sure, like I know that you're listening. Sometimes I'll play some music so that, you know, it's a little bit more pleasant to listen to while you work on your art projects, but for the most part, we really won't be using our headphones that often. Fire drill and lockdown. If there's a fire drill evacuation, we will take a left out of the door and head down the stairs and meet in the down on the hill in the field, and I'll take attendance. If there's a lockdown, we go into the center room and sit silently on the floor. Remember that all doors stay locked so that if I'm out of the room for whatever reason, you can just pull the door closed and lock yourselves down. When doing a fire drill or lockdown drill, traffic patterns do not apply. Social distancing does not apply. Quickness, efficiency, and safety is our #1 priority. All right, so in closing, yes, we're in a super unique situation, but we are in this together, and the adults in the building are here for you, your peers are here for you, and it's time to just be good to each other. Your experience is going to be different, but a lot of people have put in many, many hours of planning and careful considerations so that this experience is going to be a good one nonetheless. Focus on the positives and let's make the most of it. Your teachers are willing to be flexible, but we also need to see effort and receive communication from you. And here's a great start to the semester, to the 2021. In the slideshow that's also provided in Google Classroom, you're going to go ahead and click on this orange button on the bottom of the screen, and that's where you're going to find the Google form to fill out and submit, and you will receive credit for doing so.